Hi everyone, and welcome to this Q&A. Again, I just wanted to thank everyone for helping me reach 100,000 subscribers. It's definitely still hard to believe that I've reached that milestone. It blows my mind that there are that many people who want to watch my content. A channel with 100,000 subscribers seems like it's such a big channel, and it's just so hard to believe that I'm one of those channels now. So again, thank you very much. Do you take requests on people you cover in your videos? I'll try to remember to leave my email address in the description box. It is in the About Me section in my channel if you go on there. I don't guarantee that I'll cover anyone, but if you have any suggestions that you'd like to make, I'll definitely add them to my list of cases to look into at least. Do you work on multiple projects at the same time? I try not to. Sometimes it doesn't exactly work out. Right now I'm working on kind of a bigger project. I guess technically it'll probably only be a slightly longer video than usual, but it's a case that I have access to a lot more material on, and I've gotten a lot more emotionally invested in for a variety of reasons. But I've had to kind of pause that so I can go back to making other videos because I realize it is going to be a much bigger project to get that video done. But hopefully I can get ahead in my other videos so that I can spend a few weeks working just on that and get back to focusing on just one thing at a time, because I think my videos end up better when I do it that way. How many work on your crew? It's just me. I'm kind of a control freak, so I have a hard time delegating tasks. There probably are a lot of things I could try to hire out, but again, I'm just kind of a control freak. Are there any cases you have come across that are too unsettling to talk about in one of your YouTube videos? Yes, there are definitely plenty of cases that I've decided are too upsetting to work on. I don't really have firm criteria to decide what is. I'm very subjective about it. But, if I'm researching a case and I just get too upset over it, for the most part, I just don't cover it. I know that might seem unfair to the people involved in those cases, but if I think that I'd be too upset to really do it justice anyway, I don't see the point in getting myself so upset and then not being able to make another video for another 3 weeks because I'm so upset about that one case. I do try to keep an eye on how upset I get when I'm researching a certain case, and so there have been times in the research process where I have had to kind of just decide that it's not something that I can cover adequately. Are you an agnostic or atheist? I personally am not, but I obviously don't have any problem with people who are either of those. Are you personally connected, even through degrees of separation, to any famous crime victim, criminal, or crime? I think I mentioned this in another Q&A that I am connected to a murder victim, but that's not a famous one, and I won't go into that right now. But I am reasonably sure that I'm distantly related to Typhoid Mary, who I don't really consider a criminal, but I know some people do. But that's my only tie to anything well-known or famous. When do we get to hear the cat outtakes? For those of you who don't know, I think I talked about this in my last Q&A, maybe? My cat does not appreciate getting locked out of my closet when I'm using it as my recording studio, and will do his best to try to claw his way into the closet. And so there are a few spots in videos where I couldn't edit out all of his scratches at the door. For a little bit, I did consider saving a little piece of audio from one of my recordings where I let him in and he was kind of poking around and messing with the microphone, and I was talking to him in my silly cat voice that pet owners sometimes have. But I did end up deleting it. It's hard to really... They're not cute outtakes, is my problem, so I didn't really want to save them, because a lot of it is... if he had been meowing, that would be kind of funny to listen to, but he's not really a meower. He only meows really when it's getting close to lunch or dinner time, and he wants us to get his wet food. So most of the outtakes are of him scratching at the door, and the door frames where I live are metal, which I guess is a thing they did when they built houses in the 60s. Everywhere else I've ever lived has had wood ones, but here they're metal, so it can be kind of a really sharp noise. So unfortunately, I don't have any entertaining cat outtakes, so I don't know if I'll ever be able to make a little compilation of those. Do you plan on making a true crime podcast? Not right now. There are some cases. I mean, obviously my channel isn't super visually based, like you could listen to it kind of like a podcast, but I do try to include relevant images. There are some cases that I've wanted to cover, but I haven't been able to get pictures for, or enough pictures. Like there's one case where I could get some pictures for the case, but not one of like the main person involved, so it didn't really seem like I should make a video about it. Obviously, like if I only have limited pictures, I'll still do it. Some people I only have, especially like the older cases, I might only have one picture of them available, but I'm okay doing that. But if I have 0 pictures of the main person, it seems a little strange. So I have some of those cases that I would consider doing in more of a podcast format. No one asked this question in any of the community posts about this Q&A, but I do periodically get asked about if I have a Patreon, which I don't. I probably wouldn't start one until much later in the year because I am working on a project outside of YouTube when I have the time when I'm not working on YouTube. So I wouldn't start one until after that was finished. But if I did have one, I wouldn't feel comfortable just asking people for money without getting something in return. So I was thinking I'd do like an extra episode, or I might do like a podcast style episode for that where it's just the audio and it's a little more conversational. But I might ask more about that later in the year when I'm closer to being able to start making content for that. But if you have any thoughts on what you'd be interested in receiving as a patron of the channel, you can let me know in the comments on this video too. What's the closest case you've ever covered in terms of where you live? Obviously, I've done a whole bunch of Memphis cases, which is where I was born and where I grew up. The closest one, there's a case that I haven't covered yet. It was a cold case that I think is solved now, but there is one person involved in it who still has future legal proceedings, so I kind of want to wait until that's wrapped up before I actually cover it, so I can give everybody pretty much the complete story. But when I do that story, the victim's remains were found less than 10 minutes from the house I grew up in, so that'll be the closest one. In terms of where I live now, I haven't done too many that are very local to me. There's one that's relatively close, but obviously I want to be a little more vague with that. I don't necessarily want to give away my current location, which might sound silly and paranoid, but you can never be too safe with the internet. Again, thank you all so much for your support, and to everyone who submitted questions for this. I'm thinking I might switch to doing these every 50,000 subscribers instead of 25. Also, let me know if there's any kind of other like bonus video you'd like me to do instead of a Q&A, just to kind of keep things more interesting. Obviously, I try to do these as a thank you to you all, so if you have any other ideas of what you'd like to see when we reach future milestones, you can let me know in the comments. Thank you.